Well, welcome back to my stream, guys. Welcome to my channel, and welcome to another chapter. Working on this guy right here, but he's not there yet, so just give me a sec. Yeah, working on that guy right there. That's our Ford Model A custom pickup truck by Revell. So, let me get the intro going and we'll get right started, okay? All right. Alright guys, well, we're back, and I'm feeling like we're almost done. We're getting there, we're getting close. You guys have seen this part of the car for a few times now. Last time was basically just building the hood out of curiosity, and I got the hood all assembled, and yeah, it was just out of curiosity. It was really the only reason why I wanted to build it. It is kind of cool that you can open the panels up and all that. And if you're doing this as the normal stock kit, which obviously I'm not with this great big engine sticking in there, but yeah, so here's our hood. If you were so inclined to assemble it, it would go down over top here, kind of like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's the hood, and yeah, she's done. Yay. Okay. What else we got to do? Well, we've got to get some stuff put together here. Okay, so we got our body, and we got to put our bench seat in there. Remember, I did paint the bench seat. Got that put together. I did put some semi-gloss clear over it, so excuse me, so it does have a little bit of a shine, just a little bit, give that leathery look. And she's just going to drop down right in there like that. So that's nice and simple. So I'll get in there with my glue brush, and we'll put some glue in there. Actually, I think it'll be easier to put the glue on the inside of the bottom here where it belongs. I'll change the camera here and you can get a better look at what I'm doing here. Alright, so yeah, the way it sits is this lip just kind of goes over the edge around it here and sits on it. Of course, it's hard to tell now with the doors on. It was a lot easier to see with the doors off, but yeah, whatever. Basically, just around this edge here like that. A little bit on the bottom too, sure, why not? And that's really all we need to do. And just drop her into place, and the seat has her new home. Now, I could have run a couple little bit on the back of the seat too to get it to glue against the back of this, but it doesn't really matter. But our seat is in there. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, the next step was to actually glue the cab onto the frame. There's our hood assembly going on. Yeah, that's all fun. Yeah, basically, if I flip back, before the hood, we had the bucket going onto the frame, and then they wanted us to put the doors on. I put the doors on before putting it on there, obviously, because, well, it's not on there now, is it? And then that's it. So, yeah. So let's glue let's put this guy in his home permanently. So let's have a look. You got to be a little careful as you fish your shifter rods through the floor. That, and then he sits in there. Now, the nature of my engine that I have in there basically doesn't allow me to put it in the exact spot that they want. You'll notice there's a couple of little holes. I get the light right, you can see there's a hole there in the frame and one on this side too. Okay, two little holes in the frame, and there's two pins right here and here. You can see they're red because I have trimmed them off. Those pins are supposed to give you your alignment for the front, but the nature of the cylinder heads on the back of this engine just quite wouldn't let me get it forward enough for the pins to line up. So I couldn't get them to line up. So I just trimmed them off because even though they didn't line up, it still sits in its place where it's supposed to go without any issue. It's just a hair of a millimeter back, like just barely. So it's actually where it needs to go. I'm happy with it the way it sits. I got no complaints about that. So I like that. I'm happy with it like that. And so I think we're ready for some glue. I'm going to run a little bit of glue along this edge here, just along the trim, and then I think we'll be good. And then she'll be in her new permanent home. I'm actually going to change my glasses here before I do that, just so I can see a little better. All right. The next step after this will be our bucket in the back. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of glue just along here, along the inner edge. I don't want the glue squeezing out. Now along here it won't matter so much because any glue that does squeeze out will be hidden by the bucket. Okay. Let's fisher through here and drop into place. And there we have it. She's in her home. Just like that. Now I would like to maybe see if I can get in there a little bit with some extra thin on the bottom, just to make sure I have good contact with the glue everywhere like that. So just kind of trying to hold it in its position. Yeah, see, I don't quite have great contact with it. I almost want to tape it so I can turn it over. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a strip of tape over it. Okay. Take this. See, it's lifting off totally, so which means the glue didn't really contact very much at all. So let's just pull this a little tight, and this one a little tight, run that under there. Okay, now she should stay. Alright, now I can get some glue in here. Some key areas. There we go. Okay. Now, in theory, that should hold it a little bit better. So let that sit. Okay. The next thing we need to do is our bucket, which basically sits right behind it, just like so. Okay. Same deal. Exact same deal. Okay. And I think I'll do the same thing, except I need to be a little bit smarter with my tape. This one I could go all the way across, but with the bucket I don't have that luxury. I don't have the luxury of doing that. It's basically going to sit just like this. It's really only going to touch on the frame here, and then across this crossbar here, and a little bit on the frame on the inside back here. But I mean, really, that's all I need. I think actually I can get away with just doing that and really screwing everything up. And get away with screwing it all up. It's not really what I wanted to do. I want a way to hold this after letting go. I think I can do it like this. Basically right in here. And in here. Across this frame. Across there. Fortunately, it does allow me to get lots of glue in there and to make sure it's really going to be sealed good. Alright, there we go. Our bucket is glued in. Now there's not much I can do about the bucket. I need to let that cure before I install my rear axle. I did do a test fit on my rear axle here the other day, and discovered that my drive shaft is just a little bit too long. I think with the stock wheels would have been okay, and you probably would have never noticed that the drive shaft center line is actually further back from center than what it's supposed to be. If I were to just kind of mock this up and put this in there, as you can see, my wheel sits far back. I need about a millimeter or so to get that centered, and that's the kit. That's not because you might think, oh, it's because you got your custom engine in there, but actually my transmission is sitting exactly where it's supposed to be, and the only thing custom about the rear end is the width. The length, I haven't touched any of the length, so that just tells me they made it that way. And well, like I said, maybe it's fine when everything's all normal and your tires are normal and everything like that, and it's just my big honking tires that really are showing that little imperfection, which means I need to cut off our thing here on the drive shaft and shorten that just about that much, and that's it. I don't want to take too much because that would be bad. I'm just going to put this over here for now. But I think that distance, I don't know if you can see on the camera, I've got a little bit of a blank spot here that has no chrome, and I think that's just how much I'm going to take off. So I'm going to grab my nips here. Let's get our piece taken off here. Let's take that off. Okay. Now whoop, that was close. I don't want to drop it and lose it in the carpet. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. Make sure that's nice and flat. Okay, good. Because I do want to glue that back on. Okay, I want this glued back on. And I actually want to get rid of the chrome on the front of this. Also, Revell's got a seam, a parting seam right in the middle here, which, well, it doesn't do it justice. So let's just get rid of the chrome on this edge. It's not super important to get rid of it, but it does the job. it'll help it. Okay. Alright, that one's done. So let's leave that for now. Now, I'm going to trim just that little amount off. Right there, I think, should be enough. Okay, I think I did that straight enough. So now I just need to glue this back on there. Okay, so having taken that little bit off, I'll just put the glue on this end. Actually, I'm just going to make sure it's straight. As straight as I can, anyway. A little dab of glue. And glue that on. Okay, the side that you're actually going to see, that's the side that counts the most. So I want it as straight as I can. Okay. Now with that like that, we'll do a little test fit. And we'll see what that looks like now. Kind of put that in there. Obviously the glue's not cured, but yeah, see, that is much better. That's a much better fit like that. Just that little hair is really all it needed. Okay, so we're going to let that cure before I try and actually mount the rear end. Let's put that there, and you can sit. Where am I going to put this so it doesn't hit? There we go. Okay, so we'll let that sit there, and we'll move on to the next thing. Next thing I need to address is my steering wheel situation. I think my cab is probably cured enough for me to remove the tape. I need to remove the tape anyway to the fact that I can pull on it like that with the tape and it didn't move tells me it's cured enough that I can start working on it. Yep. Okay. Our steering wheel needs to go in, this guy here. And I think I want to do some chrome detail on it while it's out of the truck. Actually, it's going to give us a couple more minutes to let the glue cure. Okay, which means I'm going to grab my Molotow chrome, this guy here, and a paintbrush. Yeah, really. Grab the Molotow chrome and a paintbrush. I'll use this guy here. This, of course, is the refill. Do some chrome here. Give her a little detail. Make it look like a little bling bling on the inside. This stuff really does looks like real chrome. It's crazy. Okay, so let's do that, and then I've seen a lot of guys on forums and stuff like that raving about the new Revell chrome spray, and even seen a YouTube video of a guy spray painting it on a couple of different things, and it seems, at least in the videos, it seems to look every bit as authentically chrome as the Molotov. So I ordered some, and so we're going to see, obviously in a future video, what that Revell chrome spray looks like and how durable it is. I'll see if I can do a clear coat over it. I saw somebody say that if you let it cure for a week, if you let it dry for a week, you can actually put a clear coat over it and it doesn't dull it. That's one person's claim. So that'll be an interesting little test to do, to see if that's actually true. Okay, so now I've got some nice chrome detail on my steering wheel. That'll look a lot nicer sitting in the interior. I gotta fish that through down to the axle, and I think I'm gonna have to trim a little bit off because it might be a little too long with it. Now, the fact that it doesn't go all the way where it's supposed to go. It does seem a little bit long. Not that much too long. Maybe just take a little bit off the tip here. Let's maybe do. I want to trim it kind of straight up and down as I can. Let's see how that much comes off and see how it looks. Now, convince that to fish back through the hole. There we go. Yeah, that's good. That's better. Like that. So put that kind of straight up to get an idea. Actually, installing it upside down might be easier because then it'll rest into its little cradle where it's supposed to. I'm only going to glue it in the one spot. I'm just going to put some glue in the cradle. Okay, I'm just going to put some glue right in there, and that'll be what it gets glued to. Because it's going to be too hard to get my glue brush down into the hole there. I don't really have access to the outside of it here, although once it's fished through, I might be able to get in there right in here and glue it. But for now, it's just going to be glue in the cradle, and that'll be it. Okay. Convincing that to go where it's supposed to is really the hard part. But I got it in there and it looks pretty straight. So I gotta actually hold the truck like this for a little bit now while that cures. I'd rather it lean against something. But there's not much I can do about that, is there? I can see where it comes through. It's a little bit difficult to show you guys. It comes through right there and it's a little bit hard to see. And I can't currently turn it around and show you. But I can get in there with bit extra thin and kind of get on that shaft in there. Whatever, it's kind of touching the back of the header slash back of the block, engine block down in there. I already knew it was going to have that issue and not actually go all the way down to the steering box. But we kind of already knew it was going to do that, right? So, yeah. I think I can get away with having it sit like that now. Okay. The one unauthentic thing is there's no seat belts. And I was looking for my seat belts that I have, my spare belts, and I could not find them just in the time I was looking. I know I have a set of aftermarket seat belts. I just couldn't find them. So with that done, I have an extra piece of detail I want to add to the front, and that is our fuel pump. Okay, now this engine came out of a Top Fuel dragster model, and so Top Fuel dragster engines, they got a fuel pump that mounts onto the front of the engine there, and I wanted to add that. I wanted to have that detail because otherwise I've just got this kind of gaping hole on the front of my engine there above the crank pulley. So I kind of detailed up one of my the fuel pump that came with the kit that this engine is from. So I got this here. Okay, I don't know if I can show you, if you can see the detail on the camera there. There's our fuel pump. Okay, so I drilled out a couple of holes and I added some wire, both on the intake, on the end part. I believe these are the actual filters, fuel filters that go on the bottom here, and then it gets fed through, up through. So our intake lines that are going to go to the top of the engine, I'm just going to fish them down to the back. I'm not going to bother actually doing the wires and the actual fuel lines. That's just a detail I don't feel like doing on this kit. And then for the wires that would be running from the fuel tank, I'm just going to tuck them in underneath there, and you're not really going to see them, so it doesn't really matter, right? And that's basically what I'm going to do. So I do need to fish this wire kind of through underneath our front suspension, like so, and then this goes like that, and now we're in. Okay, so I'm going to glue it in place like that. Okay, just like so. The wires might hold it in place for me now. Yes, they do. One thing that's going to be a little tricky, it's funny because I also have the rod for my headlights that's going to fish through there, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. So let's get my extra thin, and some glue in there where this guy goes. Make sure he's pushed in. Yeah, he's pushed in where he belongs. He's actually exactly where he's supposed to be on the front there. So that works perfect. So we'll let that cure. I don't want to play with the wires until the glue is cured, because if I do that, then the wires will be moving around everywhere, and that's just bad news. But that'll be it. I'm just going to take these two wires, and I'll just kind of tuck them down in the back there and hide them, and I'll do the same underneath. I'll just kind of tuck them up inside here and just, you know, pretend they go somewhere when they really don't. But that's not really that important, is it? The last piece of this puzzle now is our rear end. Okay, our big drag slicks that go on this puppy, they need to be installed. And that is going to be the last piece of the puzzle on this little car. So we can safely flip this over now and see how he mounts. This literally goes into the transmission, and then the top of this is going to just glue wherever it lands right on top of there, and that's going to be it. So if I flip this over, it's literally going to be into that spot and then down like that, and then call it done. Just like so. Now, if I look at this now, I still feel like it's sitting a little far back. You see that? I get that angle on there right. You can see it's still a little far back. I still don't like that. Still a little too far. So, I want to take a little more off, which means I'm going to take this guy off of here. The nice thing about it not being glued that long ago, I'm going to take that much more off. Make sure this is straight. Just take a little more off and do another little test. Again, if I take too much off, then it's not going to look good, because then I've got it literally too short, and then I have to come up with a whole nother idea on what to do. Okay. There we go. Let's do another check. I want to say perfect on that. Okay, I think we're ready for glue on that. We're ready to commit. Commit to the glue. Glue on there. And glue on here. Once I've got this on, I basically got to let this guy cure. With all the gluing I've been doing, get him in his hole, get you lined up, and done. Just like that. And she's done. And this is where I need to just let it sit and let that cure and not do anything. Just need to let that sit and do nothing. Okay? So, shorter video than usual, but that's basically the end of the assembly on this guy. I'm going to put a tire here so you can kind of sit and just let that dry. And that is basically, I say that word a lot. I just realized that the other day. I say the word basically a lot in my videos. But that's our build. She's done. As far as assembly, she's done now. And I could sit here and ramble for another 5 minutes and and flip her over and show you guys the completed look. But what I am really going to do is let this sit for a good 20 minutes or so and let the glue all cure nice and hard. I'll tuck in my little lines, and then I'll take a few pictures of it and I'll upload it to my Instagram, just like I always do with every build that I finish. I take a few pictures of it and I throw it on my Instagram there. And that's why I ask you guys to check out the description box below, and you can see the links to my Instagram and to my Twitch channel. And I realized I have my Discord on there too, which I never check, so don't even bother with my Discord. But if you did want to send me a message, a DM, my DMs are open on my Instagram, so you can send me a message there if you feel like it. I do invite you to hit that subscribe button down below though, because I am getting close. I'm close. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, which means I'll do that collaboration videos with my fiance, and we're going to build a couple of Porsches. So yeah, I think I'm at something like 983 now. So come on, guys, we're really close, and then I can start working on that with my fiance. And yeah, and it's totally different because we're going to do it at her place, different camera setup, everything, right? So I want to thank you guys for watching. I want to thank you for coming out. Thank you for all the support and the new subscribers. Thanks for the messages. You guys are really awesome. And we'll see you all in the next one.